Welcome to another episode of One on One with Mitch Lafon. Joining me this week, Nic Maeder of the band Gotthard. They have a new live album called Live and Bangin that you can head over to their website to pick up. It'll also be released in Japan exclusively. And joining me to talk about Nic, Gotthard, and everything rock and metal, FireHouse's Bill Leverty. Welcome once again, Bill.
Hey, thanks for having me, Mitch. What a great band you're talking about today, and don't forget to talk about their fabulous guitarist, Leo Leone. What a monster guitar player he is.
Oh yeah, really. He's sort of like a Zakk Wylde with a more melodic sense, if that's a polite thing to say, because I certainly don't want to take anything away from Zakk. But no, Leo is an absolute monster. And what strikes me about Gotthard is they've had 11 straight #1 albums in Switzerland. They were just voted. Their album Bang from 2014 was voted best album in Switzerland for 2015 at the Swiss Music Awards. And yet, in North America, people barely know who they are. Isn't that a bit peculiar?
Well, we're going to change that today because everybody listens to your show.
Yes.
And then they'll be amazed at what a great band they are. And so, hey, we're going to knock them out one at a time.
Well, you know, if you head over to YouTube and you go to the Gotthard Vivo page, where all the official videos are, you'll notice 1.6 million views, 1.2 million. There's just a lot of folks checking them out, but unfortunately, they seem to all be in Europe and Japan, where they just played Budokan. Anyway, great band, and the live album is just absolutely slamming. And of course, speaking of live, what are we going to talk about now, Bill? Coming August 7th, 8th, and 9th.
Well, I guess it's going to be Heavy Montreal.
What
else? What else can you think about? I mean, that's all I'm focused on.
Oh, for August, that is the absolute event of the month in Montreal. And of course, joining in the lineup this year is Korn, Faith No More, Iggy Pop, Testament, Gojira, Asking Alexandria, and of course, Dokken, Extreme, Lita Ford. And, I'm still saying we need to have Gotthard on that list, and we need to have FireHouse on that list. And it'll happen. I'm going to keep pushing until it happens. You'll see.
I'm confident in you.
Heavy Montreal 2016. We'll have both those bands. If I have to, I don't know. I don't know what I can do to make it happen, but it'll happen. I'm making a promise right there. So there you go.
We'll make them an offer they can't refuse.
Yes. And for all your ticketing information for 2015, head over to heavymontreal.com. And so let's get into this interview with Nic Maeder. Nic became Gotthard's vocalist in 2011, replacing Steve Lee, the former vocalist who passed away tragically in a motorcycle accident.
I mean, that was no normal motorcycle accident either. Wasn't that like just this really fluke of a on the side of the road? It was
bad, wrong place, wrong time. They were on the side of the road just getting rain gear on or taking a break, and a truck lost control and slammed into them. I mean, terrible accident.
So you think motorcycle accident, you think the guy's riding down the road and something happened. This guy was innocently sitting on the side of the road with, changing his gear, and a truck just wiped him out. It is just the most tragic, awful story.
Yeah, it really is. But the band continues on, which is very positive for the fans and for rock music in general. And Nic, he got to play with our last guest. We spoke to Bruce Kulick last week. Nic got to do a few shows in Australia with Bruce Kulick in 2009, and he got to play Paul Stanley for a while and sing all of those 80s Kiss songs, which, wow, you have to be one hell of a vocalist if you can handle both Steve Lee and Paul Stanley's vocals.
Yeah, that stuff's definitely on a scale from 1 to 10 with a degree of difficulty. It's up there at 10 and a half.
It really is. Oh, it really is. So in our interview, we talk about, of course, Nic and the new live album, Live and Bangin, recorded in Switzerland, their home country. We talk about the Bruce Kulick tour of Australia and what it was like to be Paul Stanley for a few shows. And we talk about the future. When is the next new album coming out? 2014. We saw Bang. Maybe we'll see something in 2016, maybe something in 2017. But why don't we sit back and enjoy Nic Maeder talking about Gotthard, live and banging. Here's Nic. We are speaking with Gotthard frontman Nic Maeder. Good day, sir.
Hello to you.
Yeah, it's exciting for me because I discovered the band only a couple of years ago after you came in. And, I first got to hear Firebirth and then over to Bang, and your voice fits perfectly with the band. And then I got to go back and hear the Steve stuff. And, two great vocalists. So keep up the good work with that stuff. But
thank you.
Let's talk live and banging. The new live album, recorded in Switzerland last year. Was it exciting for you to get your voice on some of the older tracks?
Well, we didn't really know what we were going to do with it. We kind of the Swiss portion of the tour, which usually we sort of finish the tour in Switzerland, and we were able to record everything, and so we thought, oh great, let's just record a few shows, and we kind of forgot about it for a while, and started listening back to some stuff, and a lot of sort of got a lot of great memories from just listening to some of these shows, and we kind of picked the best one and thought well, let's do something with it, and it's kind of, I mean, I've having my voice on the old songs for people that haven't heard it, I suppose is a cool thing. I mean, we obviously when I was auditioning for the band a lot, and I actually have a lot of recordings of me singing the older stuff, which which nobody's really heard. So,
right.
so in a sense, it's kind of it's interesting.
When you're doing some of the older material, are you trying your best to stay into what Steve was doing, or are you really just, hey, it'll be what it'll be, and the fans will love it either way?
No, I mean, I'm always careful when I was always careful to not learn the song too well, in a sense. I mean, just to,
right.
Learn the song and know it, but then just not overly, don't overdo it, and just kind of sing it my way, and I mean, the song has a certain, songs have a certain melody, and you've got to sing the melody, obviously, and all this stuff. But it's, I suppose, you've got your own way of doing it, and it's been almost 4 years now that I've been with the guys, and
right.
So it's I've never really listened back to the original versions. So. And actually, it happened to me the other day. I can't remember why I was. There's one. I can't remember which song, but one of the songs I was listening back to, and I thought, oh, actually, no, I don't do that bit right.
Right.
It's kind of, which is good. Which is, to me, it's good. It's kind of shows me that at least I'm kind of doing my own thing with it. So it's but it's funny. It actually, that happened the other day.
And it also shows that it's live. Let's talk about joining the band 4 years ago. You were in a band with your brother Sebastian Maeder. 3 albums came out. Here you're going into a situation where I just want to talk about the decision to join Gotthard, because here you are in your band, you're writing your songs, you're singing your songs, you're doing your music, and you come into a situation where there is a catalog. Did that play at all in your decision, saying, okay, I'm going to have to go do, I'm going to create my own songs with them, but I'm going to have these other songs? Did you have any reticence about that and say, do I give up my thing and do this thing, or was that not part of the decision?
Well, I pretty much, our band had stopped. We'd finished with my brother. We'd stopped about a year before I started auditioning. So, in a way, I mean, I didn't have anything else. I mean, I was writing a lot of material, and I was getting ready for a solo project, actually, and so just really writing a lot, and and which, I mean, that was a big thing for me which was a really big change, was learning to write with other people,
Right.
which I'd kind of never done before. So which was great. I just sort of found out that you can write a song a lot faster when there's you're doing it with two other people. But yeah, I mean, there was a lot of material that I had to learn. Just going through the back catalogue and a lot of stuff that we had to figure out what would work with my voice, and it was kind of fun, actually. I didn't mind that at all, to just kind of take a song and just sing it the way I would sing it, it was. I mean, thinking back now, 4 years ago now, it's just gone by so fast. It's sort of two albums, 2 studio albums later, and we're still doing it. So it's.
Yeah, and I want to ask you about maybe a third studio album, but let me just finish with Maeder. You had a bunch of songs, there's some great songs like Another Thing Coming. Do any of those songs, do you feel like you want to rewrite them and offer them to Gotthard, or is it really, okay, no, there's this band and there's this band, they don't mix, let's leave it as it is?
I think I really see it as pretty separate things,
okay.
And I mean, I think it'd be hard to bring anything else into this band. I mean, already as it is, we're the three of us that are continuously writing. We're always we have way too many ideas and way too many things. If I was to start bringing things from old bands, I don't think that'd go down.
That would go over very well.
Yeah.
And I'll finish for this. Ça Plane Pour Moi, a Plastic Bertrand song.
Yes. Very well pronounced, by the way.
Well, you learn French when you live in Montreal. Plastic Bertrand. You did a stunning cover of a few years ago. What attracted you to Plastic Bertrand and being Canadian, because it was Francophone? We saw it on TV, I think maybe once in 1977 or whatever.
Yeah.
Is it just more a European thing that how did you get to do Plastic? What does he mean to you?
I mean, it was actually supposed to just be a B-side.
Right.
It was never supposed. We were never supposed to. We were never going to do a video clip, and kind of never thought it would get that much attention. But it was really, it was just a B-side, just a funny thing, and it happened to be that it was my brother's favorite song when he was a kid. It was the first little 45, the little single that he had on his record player when he was a kid, and we just toyed with the idea and thought, hey, why don't we just and actually sing it in French and it's and it was just really just for fun. We needed a B-side. We didn't want to use one of the album tracks, and we just kind of played around with it, and it just we kind of really dug the sound.
Yeah, it came out great, and of course it's got the greatest line, I'm a king du divan. King of the couch, right?
That's the
greatest
line. Yeah, you're right.
It really is the greatest line. Are you the king of the couch?
I am the king of the divan. Yeah, that's the best line.
Firebirth, then Bang. It was last year. You've got this live album, Live in Bangin. What's the progress on a third album with you?
Well, we weren't too sure which way to go, which direction to go, and I think we came off the tour last year, and it was a pretty big tour. We were all pretty tired, and we just kind of wanted to take a little bit of time off.
Right.
And we couldn't quite decide which way to go for the next album. So we thought it would be better to just kind of let's relax a bit, and in the meantime we sort of remembered about the fact that we'd recorded this the last few shows, and we thought, well, why don't we just kind of put that out just for the fans, and keep figuring out when what we're going to do and when we're going to do the next one, but there's going to be already some we've kind of started with a few little ideas here and there, so I'm pretty sure that we'll be writing during this year as well.
Is it something that you think we'll see in 2016, or is this going to go to 2017? It doesn't sound like it's in progress.
It's hard to say, but when it happens, it goes pretty quickly with because I know that everybody's got a lot of ideas as well. So generally, the songwriting should. When we actually sit down and decide, right, let's do it, but it's I think, but it's funny because we didn't feel the need to really overstress it and to be, wow, we got to quickly put another album out, we're a bit more relaxed now after the two studio albums, it just seems logical to just kind of, let's just kind of sit back for a few months and figure out exactly how we want to do this next one, But there is definitely going to be a next one. There's no doubt about that.
Is there any direction you prefer? I mean, would you want it to be more rock album, more acoustic, more ballads? What would you prefer if you had your choice?
Well, I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, I tend to change every day, but they're exactly the questions that we're asking ourselves. Okay. We're talking, we're discussing it. We're talking a lot about it and trying to figure out what what the best movie is for the band and what everybody feels that they want to do. At this point, so. So there's been a lot of talk about it. It's just once we come up with a decision, we'll go ahead and do it. But it's definitely, I mean, it's a big issue on our agenda, and we're looking forward to doing another one now. So we're talking more and more about it. So
yeah, good. If I can ask you about Preband again, 2009 down in Australia. You did a tour, or you did some shows. Let's not call it a tour. You did some shows with former Kiss guitarist Bruce Kulick, and you sang some of the Kiss songs. Were you a Kiss fan?
Actually, no. My brother was.
Okay.
Funnily enough, I was always the AC/DC fan, and he was a Kiss fan. But but no, it was cool. I got to know Bruce, and I mean, we didn't do. We just did a couple of shows.
Right, like 4 or 5, something like that. But
I'm not even. I think I just did 2, or maximum. I think 3. I can't remember, 2 or 3.
I'm just curious, as a vocalist, was it vocally challenging for you to try to do those Paul Stanley songs?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's absolutely. I mean, Paul Stanley is insanely high. How high he sings, and it's funny because when you listen to it, it doesn't sound like it's that high, and I was pretty surprised. Yeah, it was super challenging, actually. Yeah, really, really hard stuff to do.
Yeah, you get there and you go, oh, okay, wait a minute, because I know you did songs like Crazy Nights and all that 80s stuff. And
yeah, it was fun,
And that was particularly hard, right? Because those were very high years.
Yeah, I mean, that's just crazy high stuff. Yeah.
In February 2016, you're going to be on a cruise leaving the port of Miami, sort of the only incursion into North American territory. Will there be any, will you sort of come off the boat and maybe do some East Coast dates, or is it sort of back in the plane and let's get back to Switzerland as fast as we can?
Well, nothing's actually planned yet, but you never know. I mean, I would love to, absolutely. We would actually, we'd love to, but we'll see what. It's a little bit early at this point. I think they're just. It was only confirmed fairly recently as well, right. That one. So we'll see what happens. But it's a good idea. I like your idea.
Well, I mean, since you're already here, right? You can just sort of hop in a van and drive up the coast a little bit. But is it challenging for a band like Gotthard to come and play North America? I mean, is it just too cost prohibitive?
I mean, that's generally the reason why. A lot of these. I mean, Europe, we're here. We can get in a bus and kind of go around and do it. But we've had some similar talks with about playing in Australia as well. Mm-hmm. But I mean, it is just it's just a really expensive thing to do, and you sort of weigh it up and you just kind of have to ask yourself, okay, how much money do we want to lose?
Right. Yeah.
Because, I mean, it's and we've got. I mean, we travel with, something like, I think the last tour there was 18 of us in the bus, so and I mean the whole, the whole thing that goes with touring as well. So touring is not a cheap thing to do.
Nope.
And it's even quite hard to make a living from it, and to go into new territories like that, particularly like America. I mean, which is, huge, and
Yeah.
we would have to spend a lot of time and a lot of money to really to at least try and make a dent.
Do you have any kind of theory as to why some bands just don't work in North America or just can't find the same success? I mean, you go to Switzerland and you're playing in front of 20,000 people, and you look at a band like Status Quo, they're playing in London in front of 18,000 people, and they come to North America, they might get to play a bar if they're lucky. Is there any reason why you think Gotthard just didn't make a dent over here?
I mean, it's hard to say. I think that there's so many things. I mean, that's basically what you do anyway. You kind of, you work a territory that's doing all right for you, and you just try and do that, and you try and open new ones, and you try and hope that you can kind of get some more fans in as many territories as possible. But and some of them, they just don't work. I mean, there are certain ones. It's not just North America. I mean, there's we know that we have certain territories where we do well, and others that just don't do as well, and then other bands that do a similar style than we do, might be the opposite. So it's really, I don't know, it's a really hard one to pinpoint, and I mean that's kind of the thing I always thought with the music industry in general. Anyway, you just can't. You just can't predict anything where you can't.
No, it's a crapshoot.
And you really you can come up with all the theories in the world, but it's it's just so hard to tell.
Yeah, and I was thinking also of bands in North America like Journey and REO Speedwagon and 38 Special. They do great here, but you never see them live in Barcelona for some reason.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's weird, right? The first album you did with the band, Firebirth. Last time we spoke, you told me that you were a bit nervous going into it because here you are, fans are going to expect a certain voice and a certain sound, and you're coming into this new situation and you didn't know if people were going to like it or not. They obviously did. How do you feel in the band now? Are you still a bit nervous? Are you still like, I'm always being compared? Or is it like, hey, no, this is my band now. I'm in it.
I mean, it's a bit of both. I mean, I definitely. I mean, like you said, I mean, it is my band now, and I've been accepted in this, and
right.
And but I mean, I've been tremendously lucky that the fans were. I mean, it could have gone either way, and you just don't know, and I mean, we just thought let's just do the best that we can, and luckily we the fans understood it, and kind of really understood that we weren't trying to, replace Steve. We in a sense, it was more just kind of, that chapter's closed, and now we right. kind of, we want to start a new one, and I think that I mean, a big majority of the fans anyway really understood that and stayed with us, and we were very lucky, and I got a lot of encouragement from so many people, and which was needed. I mean, you really need to feel that you're accepted in these situations, and it's not an easy task, and but they were just fantastic with me, really really amazing, and now we 4 years later, and 2 albums, 2 tours behind us. Yeah, I mean, definitely, it's feeling. There isn't really that question anymore, and I mean, of course, I will always be compared. It will never end, until the day I die.
Right.
I mean, this will always happen. There's just no no getting out of that. But that's fine. You know, that's okay. It's part of what it is, and I accepted that a long time ago.
And I think a lot of it has to do that the two albums that you've made, Fire, Birth, and Bang, were solid albums. Had you made two, crappy albums, I think the fans would have said, "Hey, who is this joker? Let's get him out of here." But you right, but you made two great albums, and so it makes it easier.
Oh, thank you.
It really makes it easier for fans to go, "Oh, okay."
Yeah. Oh, well, thanks for that. We're pretty happy with the albums. I've got to say, we're very proud of them. Yeah.
And we'll finish with this because we're at 20 minutes here. You had mentioned that you had started work on a solo project before you joined. Is that something that you still want to do? Is that something that's still sort of in your heart that you want to get out?
It's not for a long time. I think not for a while. I mean, this Gotthard really takes up. I mean, so much of my energy and my everything really, and I'm not sure that I don't know. I mean, it's not something that I have been really thinking about.
Okay.
Not really, not yet.
All right, so there's not the Nic Maeder country album or solo acoustic album or anything like that down the pipeline just yet.
Well, I was thinking about doing an elevated music album. But,
it could come out at some point. Nic, it's been a great pleasure talking to you. And it was fabulous last year too. Very much looking forward to hearing Live and Bangin. Well, in fact, I lie. I've already heard it. It's a great, it's a great sounding album. I certainly encourage everybody to pick it up. They head over to the band's website to find it. It's also coming out in Japan, and I certainly hope that when you get to North America in February, that the guys say, "Hey, let's just rent a van and drive up the coast because we definitely need a show in Montreal, and I'm sure people in New York and Boston would love to see one as well."
Oh, great! Well, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for that.
And thank you, Nic.
Cheers.
Bye now.
All right. See you later. Bye.
Cheers. There you have it, folks, my interview with Nic Maeder of Gotthard. The new album is Live and Bangin, available over at their website. And you can also get it on import from Japan. Speaking of live, Heavy Montreal takes place August 7th, 8th, and 9th in beautiful downtown Montreal, Quebec, Canada. Korn, Slipknot, Faith No More, and many, many more this year. Bill, always a pleasure to have you co-hosting these. Fans, again, as you see on Twitter and stuff, love your input, and
I love their taking the time to listen to this show. And thanks again, Mitch, so much for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, let's remind folks, Leverty.com, the new single or the latest single is Strong. What else is coming out?
Well, I just recently put out a band or kind of a side project called Flood the Engine that I'm excited about. It's a couple of different guys that I've known for 30 years, and it's a classic rock, hard rock record, and love people to check it out. They can either check out how to get there through my website, Leverty.com, or floodtheengine.com. Listen to some sound clips, and we're real proud of the record. We think it turned out real well.
Yeah, that was a great record, and in fact, that was a Pledge Music campaign originally, and I actually pledged and bought it because it is important to support your artists.
Well, we appreciate that, brother, and yours is the one that took us over our goal.
That's right.
And then we were able to manufacture our CDs and make some T-shirts and all kinds of goodies, and so we got some of them left, and they're available. So floodtheengine.com.
There you go. Floodtheengine.com. Nic Maeder, Gotthard, Live and Bangin. This is One-on-One with Mitch Lafon. Thank you, folks. Bye now.
See ya.
There you go.